There are 5 questions I think you should ask anytime you're preparing any public speech. And if we work through these 5 questions, we'll end up with an effective public speech. The first of these questions is, to whom am I speaking? That's a question about the audience, and so it gets answered through audience analysis. We look at who they are, what brings them together, why they're listening to you as a speaker. These are the questions that we ask, and we'll go into more in depth, and you can look at other resources about the nature of audience analysis. But that's the first question. Keep this in mind. Speeches do not address topics. Speeches address audiences. And so knowing who they are, knowing to whom you are speaking, is the first and most important question you can ask. The second question to ask is, what is my goal in relation to my audience? When we talk about your goal, we're going to talk really about 2 sentences. One is your specific purpose. The specific purpose says what you're trying to accomplish in the midst of giving a speech. There are 5 general purposes for giving a speech: to inform, just helping your audience understand something; to instruct, communicating in a way that your audience can apply what they know; to persuade, trying to change their attitude or their actions or their policies, whatever; to inspire. People who are already persuaded are inspired by having their commitment to a particular cause or value reinforced, and to entertain. Those are 5 general purposes. So a specific purpose is going to draw one of those purposes into a relationship with an audience and a topic. So that your specific purpose might be to inform my colleagues about the progress of a particular project that I'm working on. The second sentence that we're going to create in answering this question, what is my goal in relation to my audience, is the thesis sentence. The thesis sentence is the 1-sentence summary of the content of the speech. It answers this question: if my audience remembers nothing else from my speech, what do I hope they remember? And if we can answer that question in a complete sentence, then that gets us to that thesis sentence. But that all belongs to the second question of, what is my goal in relation to my audience? A third question we're going to ask in preparation for any public speech is, what resources do I need to achieve my goal? Resources may be resources that you obtain from the library, things that you'll accrue through research, online databases. But in a work setting, these resources may be reports or information, data drawn from different parts of the organization. It may be internal documents. It may mean that you call people and you have conversations with them so that you're bringing together the viewpoints of several different team members or different people that are relevant to what you're talking about. But resources is the substance, the supporting material for your speech. And you bring all that together, and then you begin to assemble how that speech is going to unfold, keeping in mind what you're trying to accomplish, keeping in mind that second question, what is my goal in relation to my audience? But that's the third question. What resources do I need to achieve my goal? The fourth question we ask in preparation for any public speech is, how do I present those resources clearly? When we talk about presenting resources clearly, we're talking about oral presentation, we're talking about good diction and articulation, we're talking about nonverbals like eye contact and hand gestures and movements, avoiding distracting gestures and fidgeting. We're also talking about organization, giving the speech in such a way that the audience can follow the train of thought and doesn't feel like the speech is jumping around. That's all about organization. It has to do with the visual aids as well. So if we're using visual aids, we want to present the resources clearly on a visual sense, not only oral sense. That all belongs to that fourth question. How do I present the information clearly? And students often worry that they're not going to be interesting. And I try to reassure them most people are not interesting. And I include myself in that category. I don't think most speakers are particularly interesting. What we can teach, though, is how to be clear. And so clarity is an important part of any public speaker's toolkit. But the last question we ask is, how do I present the resources memorably? And this is where we do strive to be interesting, bringing oral energy and enthusiasm to our topic, sincerity, developing our credibility, looking for ways to tell stories that are meaningful, engaging the audience in creative interactions. All of that belongs to that final question of, how do I present the information memorably? So I do hope that you tuck these 5 questions away, that you memorize them, and you think about the sequence, because they really are meant to take you from a starting point to an ending point in preparing a public speech. Again, they are, to whom am I speaking? What is my goal in relation to my audience? What resources do I need to achieve my goal? How do I present the resources clearly? And how do I present the resources memorably?